But Zimbabwe has no shortage of energetic, educated young people, many of them college graduates. But what the country lacks is jobs. The pressure is on for the new government to turn the situation around quickly. Viewers Anita Powell talked to young people on the streets of the capital, Harare, who say they want the new president to deliver on his promises and allow more young people into government leadership.
Innocent Kagadora should not be here. The 23-year-old holds a political science degree from Zimbabwe's top university. Yet because of Zimbabwe's soaring unemployment, which many blame on former President Robert Mugabe, here he is. Since graduating in 2015, he spends his time on this corner, selling phones 14 hours a day. His colleagues call him Comrade Graduate. He said he takes home $10 a day. Not enough, he says, to help his father.
It hurts him a lot to say, my son has a degree, my son is educated enough in Zimbabwe, but he can't even afford to send me groceries at the end of the month.
So, help me God.
New President Emmerson Mnangagwa says he will improve the economy, and students plan to hold him to that promise. On the first day of his presidency, student leaders met in Harare to mobilize the youth vote for elections scheduled next year.
We will basically be calling him to account in terms of the things that he has promised. So every citizens, every young people are ways to see these things getting into reality.
At their alma mater, students say they're hopeful, but say they want leaders to change their mentality and focus on the future, not the glories of the past.
You listen to them, most of their speeches, they're still talking about the liberation struggle. I appreciate what they did, yes, but I think it's time for us to move away from that now. The ideas back then, they are not fit for the world that we're in right now.
We're hoping that with the new change in government and all that, things are going to get better.
And they worry about the youth coming behind them, like 16-year-old Advocate Kambeu, who really shouldn't be here on a Harare street corner selling $11 shoes on a school day. If he could afford school fees, he says, he could do big things.
I want to do politics. I think I'm talented in politics.
Mnangagwa has laid out an ambitious program of economic reform, and millions of energetic, talented young Zimbabweans, like Innocent, Ostalos, Nyasha, Nadine, and Advocate, are counting on him. Anita Powell, VOA News, Harare.
Almost on a daily basis, hundreds of African migrants return to their countries from Libya with harrowing tales of hardship, torture, and more recently, slavery. Leaders are becoming more concerned about dealing with the root cause of the migration. One of such is the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina Mohammed, who says part of the solution to the problem is economic opportunities for young people in Africa.
Yet another batch of young Nigerians returning home from Libya as the government steps up efforts to bring back stranded migrants following a global outcry over reports of slave trade going on in Libya. Forlorn faces looking out of the window of the plane into an uncertain future, but that's the least of their problems. For now, the returnee migrants are grateful to have survived a failed journey to the West, and as they tell it, others were not so lucky.
Well, starting from end of the...
I survived the desert and finally arrived in Gatron and went ahead to Musu. There you can't communicate with anyone. The asthma boys will always come around to steal from blacks. If the boys came and you could not provide money, they either injured or stabbed the person.
Part of the integration process is registering the migrants and taking stock of the numbers successfully brought back home. At least 2,000 migrants have returned from Libya in the past 2 months alone, and many more remain stranded in Libya and other parts of Europe. While the authorities work towards the safe return of citizens, the question is how can African governments stop the migration of its youths? Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Ms. Amina Mohammed, believes the solution is not far-fetched.
There's no person that will want to leave their country if they have an opportunity at home. So, we have to address opportunities for children, for young people, in particular education, being a part of the economy, ensuring that there are jobs. And I think this is where our economies really need to grow. We need to invest better. We need to leverage an environment where foreign investment can come in and it can improve the basis of our economy so that people can work. Nigerians, for one, are very hardworking. And I think that, given the opportunity, that's what will happen. They will not go across the desert and the Mediterranean.
For the president of the Global United Cities and local governments, solutions must be found to the challenges driving people to make the treacherous journey.
One of the points we should make is that many cities and countries on the African continent are equally taking large numbers of migrants without raising the complaints that are raised by our counterparts throughout the world, accepting it as a collective responsibility to address the challenges facing humanity. And I think it is important for leaders across the globe to take it upon themselves to mobilize their communities to ensure that we become more receptive to people that are living poverty, that are living drought, famine, and violence in search of greater opportunity and prospects for themselves.
President Muhammadu Buhari has assured Nigerians of his administration's commitment to evacuating Nigerians from Libya and other parts of Europe. He's also promised to do everything possible to improve economic conditions, so youths no longer find it attractive to embark on perilous journeys in search of greener pasture.
It's time now for a short break. As we go, remind you to visit our website, channelstv.com, for news and other programming around the clock. You can also find us on youtube.com/channelsweb. Still to come, importing education. 3 music students from South Africa's top music school prepare for careers in their respective countries. That story after the break.